events. How we promote club events so that students are informed on all campus-wide events and support an interactive and involved student body.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so the first step, honestly, is to listen to the clubs themselves. Listen to get their mission statement out there and start a basic plan. What do you want your goals with your club? How can I help you? And then from there, you're going to go about different marketing ways. Each and every club is different how they want to express themselves. And so there's not a direct answer I can say towards this because it's going to vary for each club I deal with. But honestly, marketing. We've said it multiple times, me and Evie, because it is a problem that needs to be solved. Honestly, with the fun that is in each club, there is some sort of creativity. And using that creativity and being out here on the sidewalk or showing up on social media or showing up in events and expressing that fun, that's how you're going to get people. And that's how you're going to get people to know of your club. There are many plays that we can also go through marketing, but they're not really known as the question is stated. There's something called Blazerlink, which every student has access to, and that's where they can see each and every single club events that's going on, and then they can also see what forms to start a new club or to advertise their club out there, but that's hidden within the form stock, but not a lot of people know. And we get a constant question as club reps, how can I market my club better? How can I get on Blazer Digest? And honestly, it's through education. As the VP, as the club reps, we need to educate and we need to do better, but we need to make it a seamless, easy process for the people who are wanting to start a new club or who want to get their word out there. And honestly, as a vice president, I want to be that person for them. I want my club reps to be that person for them. I want clubs to be a seamless, ever-lit process that's going to bring so much fun to you, so it shouldn't be a hard situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Same question. Would you like to repeat it? Would you like to repeat the same question?
Yes, please.
Currently, there are barriers for students to get access to club information and events. How we promote club events so that students are informed on all campus-wide events and support an interactive and involved student body.
So, sorry about that. The approach that I have actually started taking this year, to try and work with that issue, which has been an ongoing issue, is actually designing stickers that have QR codes to every list of available clubs on campus. And that's where they can find information to those club events. But not only that, since taking this, I only feel like it's a stepping stone for where we could go with marketing clubs and different things like that. There are also posters on campus. If any of you are interested in starting a club, I actually put a QR code to that as well, so you can start filling out a charter form. It only takes 5 people to start one. And also just finding people who want to have that similar interest in that club. But not only that, even though I designed those stickers, the idea only came because I was collaborating and talking to people about the idea of how to market and how to get that information out there. And I feel like my goal with this next year is like the quote, you can give a man a fish, but he's only fed for the day, versus if you teach a man to fish, he's fed for life. And so I would love to integrate how to work with all the club presidents and their marketing teams using their own creativity to be able to teach them how to fish for life. So that way, moving forward, everyone will be able to know about more of the clubs on campus and see how they can get their voice known in the next year and so on.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to the Vice Presidents of Academics.
And then we'll start with Eiley, and then we'll go to Nathan. So the first question is, with the transition to Utah Tech, how do you plan to support and include all students within our Polytechnic focus?
I actually love that question because I graduated last year with my associates from Dixie State, and I know that transition to the new name change has been difficult, and making sure that everyone feels involved and that everyone has a place on campus. As far as academics and Polytechnic focus, my platform is based around partnerships and community relationships. I want to give students more opportunities for that hands-on learning. That's what Polytechnic is all about. It's hands-on learning, getting out there in the real world and learning from those career professionals and doing it. And when we're trying to bring in Our alumni, I think that is super important, making sure that they're involved, that we're learning from them, but that we are also taking advantage of the programs that we have on campus and starting new initiatives, getting our voices out there in those decision-making processes to start new programs. If there is something that's not offered here yet, as far as academics and programs that you want to see, why not? And come see how you can have your voice heard about that so that we can get those programs started, so that everyone has a place here on campus and that we can all succeed in our academic endeavors.
Okay, Nathan, now going to you. With the transition to Utah Tech, how do you plan to support and include all students within our Polytechnic focus?
Polytechnic is such a huge word. But what it boils down to is innovation, right? And we cannot have innovation unless we come together and start sharing our ideas and our differences. I was able to be part of the Inspire program. Some of you might have heard of it. It's a STEM program where we were put into teams that consisted of 3 people from different majors, and we had to create a project. That's actually where I got my idea for the innovation certificate that I talked about earlier. I want to make sure that those majors that aren't associated with Polytechnic, namely those who are non-STEM majors, are still included in these activities. Just a vision that I have, if we had a artist, a chemist, and a computer scientist come together, what kind of project could they create? What kind of invention, what kind of furthering of society or technology could they do? That's just a vision that I have. And as Vice President of Academics, that's what I would pursue. And encouraging people, understanding that Polytechnic means innovation, which means coming together and sharing our ideas.
Thank you, Nathan. Next question to you, Nathan. So it's kind of the big one. So one of the major complaints we hear in the university is about academic advising. Students not knowing what they need to do and how to do it. We know that the Academic Center is focused on advising, but how do you plan to help students with academic advising on campus?
So actually, part of my platform is engaging with transfer students and graduation students and getting them to those resources that help them create a graduation plan to boost retainment, because we have a lot of students, like Emma was saying with clubs, a lot of students start to either leave for spring semester, they're less engaged in classes. We actually do not have super high retention rates, and I want to fix that. Especially with academic advising, I have had my own personal issues with that. My sophomore and freshman year, I felt like I didn't have very much guidance. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, and I didn't know where to go. But there are so many resources. Our academic advising team, they're working together. They have Handshake, they have Navigate. We are trying to make all of those platforms cohesive so that students can find those resources easily, that they can create a graduation plan, and that they can stick to it and stay here. We want them here for all 4 years. And students who transfer, we want them to find their program. We want them to find a place where they belong, that they can follow that career path that they want, and that they'll stick with it and stay here.
Thank you. Nathan, do you have some read the question?
So with relation to academic advising, yes, we are very short, and it feels like we are lagging a little bit. I know I've heard from multiple students, and as a academic senator, I've heard that a lot within the Senate. I think it does boil down to resources, absolutely. I also believe it boils down to passion. The advisors, our academic advisors, are here to do just that. They're here to advise us on our path. To me, I feel like our college graduation plan is really up to us. And when a student finds a passion for what they're wanting to do, I feel like they will start planning it out themselves, going to their academic advisor and making sure that the plan follows along and they're not going to be set back a couple of years, right? How do we get students passionate about what they're doing, though? That's the question. And it's through involvement. giving them more hands-on opportunities in the classroom and through extracurricular activities, I feel like will encourage students to start planning their own things. Plan your degree, figure it out, go to the advisor and say, hey, I have a plan. How does it look? And let them look over it. That's my stance on this.
Thank you. Perfect. So if we can give a big hand to all the vice presidents and academic candidates, and we're going to move on to our presidential candidates now.
Okay, I'm first going to ask Carson, and then Jose, you'll have the question next. The first question is, what do you see as the top 3 issues facing students? How would you address these issues?
So I'm just going to do it issue by issue. My top one, I would say, is having a sense of belonging on campus. We've actually had this conversation as the Student Involvement and Leadership department. We've talked about how we can create a sense of belonging. And as Vice President of Academics, we've actually started to tackle that process by starting with the classroom, because we have identified that as being the top spot of where students are all going to be, is going to be in the classroom. There are going to be some students that don't go to the extracurricular events because that's just not their thing. And so I definitely think the top issue is making sure the students feel like they belong here. And as student body president, I'd like to continue that initiative that I had started this past year and maybe move it out to more of just all of campus. Where can we create a sense of belonging for students to stay and to be retained? The second issue that I see, we definitely have already talked about academic advising. As the Student Senate, we have talked about this issue that we have been seeing, and it is definitely boils down to a lack of resources. And we definitely have had those conversations with the academic advising department and have tried to improve the process for students and to make sure that students are aware of all the resources that they do have to help them through that process. And then the third issue that I have decided to tackle this past year, we talked about open educational resources. What that is basically it's basically a free textbook. It's basically having it in your curriculum as a way to use free materials, and so students don't have to purchase a textbook. This past year, I've been meeting with Emma Lanner. She's one of the librarians, and we have started to tackle the issue of incentivizing your professors and faculty to adopt that OER material in their classroom to help lower the cost for students, because it is a big deterrent when it comes to registering for classes. You know, when you see that textbook is $200, you decide to do that or buy groceries. You know, so I feel like that is definitely a big issue that we need to continue to tackle and decrease the cost for the student to attend. So, okay.
Would you like me to ask the question again, Jose? Okay. What do you see as the top 3 issues facing students, and how would you address these issues?
Yes, the first one I would say is retention rate in the spring semester. I believe it has a lot to do with mental health, especially because fall semester, being on student life, I've been able to work on events. I see a lot of attendance, a lot of people are coming to events, and that helps them be more engaged in school and student involvement. And in the spring semester, something that we could do as student body president is bring out all the organizations like ambassadors, alumni ambassadors, NISA, and have like a giant week of welcome the first week to let students know that there's a place for them coming back from winter break. So working with all the organizations to help promote, to get them to be involved in their organizations, not necessarily through UTSA. That's a plan that I have to be able to retain more students in the spring semester. Another one is academic advising. There's been a lot of people who or students have been affected by not being able to graduate on time. So try to find a plan with the academic advisors to be able to encourage students to visit them once a semester or make it more accessible on how they can work on a better plan to be able to help students be able to graduate on time. The third one I would say is diversity. I think right now we're lacking a lot on built on the relationship that we have with Center of Inclusion and Belonging. So having them, whether it's one, for example, the Black History Month, whether they host a Wednesday event, which are Wednesdays, we target a lot of more students to our events. So giving them that chance to be able for them to express their culture, their heritage, and just have more recognition for students like that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So on to the next question. We'll start with Jose. Why are you the student body president at this university?
Thank you. I believe that I'm the student body president that this university needs because based off of my experience here, I've been involved with other organizations, not just UTSA. So I know what students want after they graduate. I know how to connect them to the alumni, which like I said, I'm on Student Life this year. So I've been able to work with a lot of students through events and stuff. So, and that caters more to freshmen, sophomores. And with that experience and the experience that I gained from alumni ambassadors, being able to help the entire student body connect them after they graduate and have a more diversity representative on the board of trustees. I believe that I know a little bit more than any other student does that could help be that advocate for students during the board of trustees meetings.
Thank you. Carson,
I appreciate it. Basically, why I would be the student body president that Utah Tech needs. I'm very outspoken and very opinionated. And I believe for a student representative to serve on those different committees, board of trustees, etc., you need to be very outspoken and be one of the loudest voices in the room for them to hear. Our administration is fantastic, and I don't think that they would ever push us aside in any way, but I definitely think that we need to make sure that we don't give them the opportunity to do so. And also, I do have a lot of experience. I have served as vice president of academics this past year, as well as chief of staff here before that. So I do have a lot of those relationships that I've already made with a lot of the administrators. And I would like to continue those relationships and build them stronger and help students be at the center of every discussion and put students first.
Okay, for the third question, I'll go to you, Carson, first. What are your thoughts on the current state of tuition and fees at our university?
That's a fantastic question because we actually just wrapped up our student fee advisory board meetings. As some of you may be aware, we actually have a tuition and fee freeze statewide, so our tuition will not go up and neither will our fees. This is great. This sounds fantastic. It does limit because we are a growing institution, and without the tuition reflecting that growth, it can limit our potential. I think that we'll be okay this next year with the state that our tuition and fees are. We are still one of the most affordable universities in the state of Utah, and I think we will always continue to be that way. But if we want to continue to grow and to be seen on more of a, instead of people just saying the U or USU, have Utah Tech be a part of that conversation. I think that it will continue to grow and we will need an increase eventually. But as I said, we will continue to be one of the most affordable institutions in the city of Utah.
Jose, would you like me to ask the question again?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not had the opportunity to really know much about the student fees or what all that entails. However, that's something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm very passionate in the future be able to know where our money goes and just know how we can help students and how to better distribute all the student fees in every organization or in every area of campus, because we're all paying student fees. So it's important for people to know where their money is going. Thank you.
Can I do a quick plug? We do have Truth and Tuition at 4:30 in Set 105. I recommend you all to be there. You're all welcome. You're all invited. That's basically a presentation on it shows where your tuition is going and your fee dollars. So just wanted to plug that in.
Perfect. Sweet. On to the next question. Our next question is, what do you envision for the new student center, and how will you help achieve this vision? Start with Jose.
For the new student center, something that I would love to see is more food options. That is something that I've been here for a few years, so just seeing the same things, I wish we could have more of. And it's this year has been great being able to see more like different food companies come in like once a month or like every month and share their food with us. Another thing is more just uniting all of the organizations in this student union center, having the alumni ambassadors, the MISA, UTSA ambassadors, every organization being all in the same building would be a really good experience for all of us, because then we would all be more united.
So it's very interesting. The building we're currently in, this was actually built to house a student population of about 4,000, and currently we're at 12,500. So it's definitely a huge need on campus. The new student union building will obviously cater to more food options. It should have somewhere between 15 to 20 additional food options. We'll have more event space. Like Jose said, we would also like to have all the student resources, so that would be, UTSA, MISA, peer coaches would all be housed in the same building, so we could all collaborate together. And it would also, for example, this building could be repurposed. We could have the Booth Wellness Center in here, the testing center, so everything would all be more centralized. We will have to pay for it. Unfortunately, the state does not fund any sort of student resource buildings. So if we want a new student union building, we will have to cover the cost, unfortunately. But I believe that we do have a pretty good budget plan laid out to where it would be justifiable for the student population. And it's definitely a huge need. We need a place where we can all come together and have a space to collaborate. So, sure.
Cool. Thank you so much. We'd like to turn the time over to Dixie Sun News to ask some questions.
Okay, hello guys. So I just have one question for each of you, so we can just go down the row. And it is, what is your leadership style, and how will it benefit Utah Tech University?
Start.
Yeah, we can start with Evie and then just go down.
Okay, thank you. I feel like my leadership style, so something in UTSA that I've had a really good opportunity to do is take a leadership class. And if anyone has a chance to be on UTSA, I highly recommend it, so you can learn your leadership voice. But I learned that I'm a creative connector. And what that is the connector is really good at talking and getting to know a lot of people and being able to somehow score, like, I don't know, in our brains, who is able to do what. And I think that's really good, because in like a certain instance, I'm trying to think of a random example. Say I needed someone who is really good with finances, and speaking of our student body president, he's really good with finances and stuff. Sorry to kind of throw you out there, but and that's just one list off the top of my head. And so I can do that for a lot of different scenarios, and I've done that for a lot of different people. But not only that, I'm also, with that creative voice, I have ideas generating in my head constantly. And when I collab with people and I talk to people, like the sticker idea came from collabing and talking to people. So I just know that a lot of great things can happen this next year, as I'm able to be given this opportunity to use those skills and tactics. Thank you.
There's a quote by Benjamin Franklin that I live by, and that is, energy and persistence conquer all things. And that sums up pretty well my leadership style. I have a lot of energy, as my friends can attest, and I'm also very persistent and determined in what I want to get done. I have a lot of connections with faculty and students on campus, both faculty and students from all the departments on campus, mind you. And honestly, I think that's where I can benefit Utah Tech University the most, is that connection between interdisciplinary collaboration and having the energy to keep up on my goals and what I want to see done for the students.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, what is your leadership style and how will it benefit Utah Tech University?
So, me, my leadership style, I'm a little bit more of the quiet voice, and but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think even though I'm a little bit more quieter than others, I've I believe that I have a really strong voice in the sense that I will fight for what students need, and I will in every meeting that I am representing a student, I will make sure their voice is heard and just work just work along the side of other students to be able to for me to bring out my leadership. I've been very passionate about student involvement, so I know how impactful it can be to be that representative for students. So that's the type of leader that I would give it to this.
So with that leadership class, there's actually a quote that we like to say, and it's called "Know yourself to lead yourself." So I think being a leader, you definitely need to be self-aware of your strengths and weaknesses and how that can impact the other people around you. With we're going off the five voices, my voice is actually a pioneer. It's one of the loudest voices in the room, and we definitely enjoy our logic and future-oriented perspective. And I think being aware of how that can negatively impact the other people on your team is very important because I'm definitely a collaborator. I like to collaborate and basically achieve. I like to be high achieving. I like to have a high achieving team. And I think being self-aware of how you putting yourself onto somebody else can help and hurt them is very important. And so I believe that knowing yourself to lead yourself is very important.
So similar to Carson, basing off of that test that we did, I am also Pioneer Voice, which tends to be one of the louder ones. I know what I want, I know what my values are and what I believe in, and I'm not afraid to speak up about it. But I also am a connector, and one of my favorite things is getting to know other people. If you know me, people tell me, they're like, oh, you know everyone. Well, that's because I know what it's like to not be known. And I want to make sure that everyone's name is known, that I get to know each student here that I meet, and that I understand what your needs are, that I can be that voice for you because I am that bridge between the student population and administration. There are some meetings that you might not be in. There are some areas that you feel like your voice isn't heard, and I want to be that voice for students, but also help you feel like you have a friend in me and that I'm not just a face and I'm not just a person with a title, that I'm also a friend.
So this is a very interesting question for me because if you would have asked me the same question in the fall, it would be a completely different leadership style than I am now. I am also a pioneer, like my fellow pioneers right here. With that being said, I am a very determined person. When I go for something, I give it my all. And that is exactly what the VP of clubs need to be. We have club council every Tuesday at 8 a.m. and it's a repetition of what problems we've had. And marketing has been a problem since. But nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's helping the clubs that need help with marketing. And nothing is changing. And so with my pioneer self, I will be able, and I am the person to go forward and get something done. But I have also now been very humbled with my UTSA position, and I have learned so much about how others perceive me and how I was being perceived. And with that being said, I have seen what works for other people, and I can tell what kind of voice they are, and I can resolve myself, and I can go back to the type of leadership voice that they need rather than being my intimidating self. That is quite scary. I can go down and I can relate to them, and I'll find some way that they connect with someone, and I will try my best to listen and do whatever they need, putting all pioneer self to the side except the side that gets things done. I know this position needs someone who can do something and get it done, and I am a very optimistic person as well. If something doesn't work, I'm going to go to the next idea until I'm fully satisfied, And I feel like that's what club presidents need as their vice president. They need someone who's willing to be that backbone for them and help them be that backbone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dixie Sun News, for asking that question and letting us getting to know our candidates a little bit more. At this point, we're going to give each of you 30 seconds to give your closing statement, and then we'll be going to the audience for questions. So we'll start with you, Evie, and then go around the line.
So I hope that this doesn't come across as braggy, but I've been told that I'm a pretty humble person from around, and that's kind of ironic to say that. But I feel like with that, it comes with the ability to listen to people, and it's something that I'm continuing to work on. But along with that, I hope that I can continue to listen to what problems come up or what things need to be taken into account, and that I can not only listen to that, but be able to provide different solutions or different resources, like I mentioned with my connector ability. Just in closing, I just hope that through all these things that we can collab together and that we can become a better university, and just say that we were proud that we became. Thank you.
I have a unique perspective on majors. I am a mathematics major, and so I am being trained in my as such as a creative thinker. I want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, and I want to not only bring together the different majors, but also bring together everyone, regardless of your background, regardless of your way of thought. I want to make sure that we create a space, a safe space, that we can share ideas and begin to innovate with one another, that we might be able to inspire future generations through inclusivity.
I'm very excited for this week and for this journey that I have been in for the past few years. And I just would like to invite you all to get to know who I am and identify yourself in who I am, because it's been a journey here at Utah Tech, and I'm so excited for one day to look back at this moment and see all of the amount of support that I got from all of you, and just to look back and just remember where I came from. So yeah, just thank you all.
I just want to say how proud I am of all the candidates up here. I don't know if you're aware, but we are all on student government currently. In fact, 2 of them are on my team at the moment. And I'm super proud of all of them and the courage that it takes, because this is not easy at all. And I just appreciate you all being here. This week it's a lot of stress, a lot of high stress, but it definitely makes it worth it. And even for me and Jose, we are both here. We are here for the student body. And I think we're both making incredible student body presidents. And so I just wanted to extend that olive branch. We definitely appreciate the support. And voting opens at 1 o'clock.
Well, Utah Tech is growing and the world is changing, and our students need to keep up with that. As Vice President of Academics, I want to make sure that we are forming those relationships, building that network here, succeeding in the classroom so that we can succeed in the workplace and be future leaders of this nation. Utah Tech isn't known for academics right now, and it should be. We have some amazing programs, and our students are succeeding. I want our alumni to come back. I want to hear their success stories, and I want our students to find their place at Utah Tech and to be proud to say that they're a trailblazer.
I'd like to start off with saying that regardless of who you vote for, when it comes to me and Evie, you're going to get a great outcome. And Evie is one of the most humble people you'll ever meet, and she'll make a great vice president if she gets the position. But I'd like to say, as your vice president of clubs and organizations, I will listen to you. And I will do whatever it takes to make you feel satisfied. I will be that bridge between you and the administrations. I will give you a voice.
and I'll also be a friend, and I'll be there to support you, whether it's going to your activities or just being a good friend. And I'll be the voice that you guys need to get that bridge connected and to feel like your club is as equal as any other club here on campus. Let me help you join the fun as your vice president of clubs and organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it is 12:50. So if anyone needs to head to class, feel free to just get up and leave. We would like to get a couple questions for our candidates, though. So we'll pass around the mic real quick, and then if you have any more questions, feel free to come and talk to us.
Okay.
Hi, so my question is for Jose and for Carson. We've had a great year with Dink as our student body president, but how will you guys be different than him in this upcoming year?
I can go first. That's it. Thank you for that question. Dink has done a really good job, and just looking back at this year, we actually ran against each other last year, and I've learned so much from him, and it's stuff that I've taken into my perspective and stuff that I want to implement and just take off all of his advice that I've gotten to be able to help another student that is just like me.
President Dink, right over here. He's been incredible. I love the initiative that we've had this past year of our Welcome Home. It definitely it increased the sense of belonging on campus, and I'd like to continue that. And I appreciate everything he's done, and I think that with me as student body president, it'll definitely be a continuation of things that he's done and then some. And so we definitely are really good at working together, and I appreciate all the mentorship that I've received from him.
Hey folks. Okay, cool. Okay, so my question is also for two student body president candidates, and it's about diversity. It's a very important topic to me. So my question is, how have your lived experiences and things you've worked on or completed up until now make you a qualified person to tackle that issue?
I can go first. Yeah, thank you for that question. Something that I have had the opportunity of is to spend more time in the CIB, which is the branding building, and just listening to all my friends over there and talking about what their needs are and what they want and what they would like to see in a president. I actually had a conversation with them a few weeks ago, asking them what is something they would want to see, and just be able to work with them more. And I identify myself a lot in them just because I come from a very different culture. So being here, being accepted, and being welcomed at this university has made my experience so much better. So I think just working with them more and just collaborating with them more so that they know that their voice is also being heard.
I won't pretend to be an expert on diversity, not even a slightest bit, but I am a very effective collaborator, and I appreciate all the work that is being done with the Multicultural and Inclusion Student Association. So I think if we could continue those collaborations and increase them, even if I meet with the president of MISA once a month, so we can collaborate, because things get done best when you have more numbers to it. So more voices behind the topic. And I think that collaborating with MISA would definitely be very beneficial with the student body president and the rest of UTSA to start initiatives across campus to increase diversity and equity and inclusion.
We have time for one last question here.
Okay, so right now our university houses 38,000 alumni. Because of the university name change, there's been a huge disconnect between students and alumni. So I would like to know from anyone who is willing to answer, how do you guys plan on keeping the retention of alumni? You guys, let me just tell you. I was born and raised here, and I've watched this university change my entire life. And I have talked with alumni. I am an alumni, and I've seen that disconnect. One of the biggest things tying in academics is we want to bring them back into the classroom. There's a lot of them who have gone on in their professions and have done amazing, but they feel like they don't belong anymore at Utah Tech because of the name change, which is like, it's awful to hear that because they are a part of this institution and we want to learn from them. We want them to feel like they belong. As far as just in general, we've got the Heritage Cove that we are redoing right now. We want that to be a place where people can come and see the names of the founders and settlers of St. George. And we are working on, I think they're making a film about Dixie. We still have those traditions. D-Week is huge for me. We have those traditions. I want to make sure that those continue on, that the Dixie heritage is not lost, that the alumni feel like their memories, their experiences, and that Dixie State University is remembered, and that those values are continued on at Utah Tech.
Okay, so something that I would like to work on as student body president is work with the alumni ambassadors, because we could bring back alumni in any way, making them feel that even though we did go through our name change, just that their legacy has not been forgotten. So just work closer with alumni ambassadors to bring them back on campus and provide more networking opportunities, more job opportunities for students, because I believe that connection is very important.
Along with that too, I think time does heal all wounds. So I definitely think that they needed their time to adjust to the changes. But I do think it's time that we do reach back out and build those relationships with past alumni, because they are really important. It's really cool to see where graduates of this institution have gone in life. You know, it's very inspirational. And so I think definitely reaching out and reconnecting those relationships is crucial.
I'd like to add, I've had some really, really good conversations with locals here. I myself grew up half my life here. And talking to them about the name change and seeing their passion behind the name of Dixie, and then being able to reinforce and reiterate the polytechnic focus that we're trying to get. And I've been able to find that when we focus on the polytechnic mission and how we want to give these hands-on learning opportunities to students, it really opens their eyes, those who are so opposed to the name change. When we focus on the good that comes from it, it's very important. I think that's what we need to express to people, is Polytechnic means career ready.
Thank you, Nathan. So we are all out of time for this debate. We really appreciate you being able to come out and speak, all of you, and share your platform and letting the student body get to know you and know what you stand for. So if we could just get a large round of applause for our candidates.
And polls should be open. So they opened at 1 o'clock. So we